Hi everybody, my name is Cheryl and today we're going to be learning how to take a photograph, one of your special photographs, transferring it by means of a photocopy onto wood, canvas or material. So today I've actually chosen a very special friend of mine who is my little dog. You can choose any photograph that you like and get mom and dad or whomever in your home to photocopy either with a laser printer or an inkjet, it doesn't really matter, a picture of what you would like. Particularly the size that you would like. In this particular case I've chosen a smaller size, but you'll notice later I've actually enlarged that so that it could fit on a standard canvas as well as a piece of wood and then also a piece of material. So let me go through the items that you're going to need for this particular project. Obviously I mentioned the photocopy. It can be on any plain white paper. It does not need to be on photo paper. Please, no fake photo paper. You will need Mod Podge matte. You will need some glossy varnish, which you can buy at Walmart or any of the other suppliers. Or if you don't have access to the glossy varnish, you can always use the Krylon Low Odor Clear Gloss, also available at Walmart or any of the suppliers. You'll need a pair of scissors, a paintbrush, a pen, as well as a ruler. You'll also need some water, a sponge, and something to stop the water from running all over the place because you don't want to mess up the surface that you're working on. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to be first of all just outlining the area that I would like to cut this picture. So let's just use the ruler, make sure that it's nice and even. And if you don't have a particular outline like I do, you can always itemize it. Bear in mind though that if you're going to be doing anything with figures or numbers, that you have to reverse the picture, because once you actually put the picture down onto your paperwork, it's going to be the wrong way around. So you have to reverse your picture. Alright, so let's go ahead and cut this out. And you can use, if you're not able to use a pair of scissors, please ask some of your family members to help you, and just make sure that your edges are nice and clean and neat, because obviously every little mistake that you do end up cutting wrong is going to show on your picture as well. Alright, so now once we have cut that little picture out, I have made a photocopy which is slightly larger so that it can show better on the actual picture. So I'm going to just transfer to that. And you can put the pen away and you can put the pair of scissors away. You will not need that again, and you will certainly not need the ruler either. Alright, so this is what I've done. As you can see, it's slightly bigger. I'm going to demonstrate it on the most difficult piece of material that you can get. It's a little calico cotton. Make sure that it has been washed and that it doesn't have any starch on it so that it can absorb the glue nicely. Alright, so let's just put that to one side. I've just put a little base down there as well so that no glue gets on that. You must make sure that you do not have any glue on the back surface of that. Okay, so let's do the Mod Podge. And it has to be a matte finished Mod Podge, and the reason for that is so you don't have that funny glossy outlook. Now bear in mind that you must please use a lot of glue in this process, and you must smooth it down as well as you possibly can without leaving any spots. You must make sure that you have cleared the whole space with glue. Alright, and you can do it either way. It doesn't have to be side to side. You could do it up and down. It doesn't really matter in this particular case, as long as you have covered your whole picture with the Mod Podge. In this case, please make sure that you do not get Mod Podge on the other side of your picture. And the reason for that is we're going to be taking some paper off on the other side in a little while. Also make sure that you don't have any bubbles, because the bubbles are going to affect how the ink is going to come off onto your picture. Alright, so there we have it. Now we're just going to transfer this like so that we don't get the glue onto anything. We're going to move this picture over slowly, and we're going to get our material, which is underneath. Make sure it's nice and straight, and then we're going to transfer this picture straight onto the material. Now bear in mind, to transfer anything onto material is more difficult than transferring it onto a wooden canvas, a wood or canvas block. So that's why I'm actually showing you how to do this. Once you've done that, you can use your ruler and your sponge to smooth down any air bubbles that you may get. So in this particular case, you'll notice that you've got quite a few bits of glue that come over the edges. Make sure you clear it with something so that you're not getting that straight onto the back side of your paper. And the reason for that is obviously the paper is not going to come off very easily if you do that. You can also use a credit card to do this if you like, but it works very nicely with the ruler, so that's nice and straight. Okay, so once you've done that, the idea is to leave this so that it can dry. You can put it in front of a fan if you like. Make sure that you don't have any creases or anything like that. If you still find some creases on there, just use your ruler again to smooth it out and to make sure that it's nice and straight. Leave this to dry for at least 8 hours, or you could do it overnight and do it the next day. Okay, so once we're done that, I will show you what you're going to be doing next. So imagine that this is what you have now got overnight, and this is just a piece of wood that you can buy at any of your dollar stores. And you're going to get yourself something to stop the water from being from slopping all over the place. Get yourself a little container like this and some sponge. You can also use just a piece of material if you like and soak it with the material, but the idea is to soak the paper as much as you possibly can. And you could do it this way, or you could lay a piece of cloth right over the whole thing and let it soak, but I find that this works best for the purpose that we're asking for. Alright, so you'll notice that slowly this paper is getting duller in certain areas, and it's starting to show the picture underneath. The idea is to keep on soaking it, and do not rub it at this point. Make sure that you have got sufficient of your paper onto, of your water onto the paper, and that it's nicely soaked and absorbs the water. Do not worry about your wood expanding or anything like that. It's specially designed to accept this type of thing, so you don't have to worry about that. Alright, just keep on going this way until you are sure that you have soaked this whole paper section through, and that you can feel it starting to move. You can also lift up some of your water with a sponge and use it again. Okay, I think we're about ready now. You'll notice that this section is nice and translucent, as opposed to these areas. You'll notice there's still quite a bit of paper there that's hasn't been absorbed yet, or water hasn't been absorbed into the paper. But you can actually see the outline of the picture. Alright, now at this point you want to use your finger pressure. Do not use the sponge to do it, and the reason for that is you can't always tell how much of the picture, the paper you're taking off. If you use a sponge, you do need to be very delicate when you're doing this, because you do not want to take the ink off underneath the paper. So you notice how I'm slowly peeling this away. You can add more water as you need, but the idea is to just slowly peel away the paper from the surface of this picture. And you'll notice it's slowly starting to come out. Once again, you can just keep this damp. Make sure that you've got water constantly on your picture, and you'll see that the fiber of the paper is starting to peel back. Okay, please be very gentle at this point. What I've done with this particular picture is I've made a border by not cutting out the whole picture all the way to the end or the surface of the picture, and I've kept a border so that it looks as though it's an artificial border. And what I'm going to be doing with this particular one is I'm going to be putting little doorknobs at the bottom of this picture. 1, 2, 3 little doorknobs, and I'm going to hang it up so that you can put coats or scarves and so on over it so that it's functional. You don't need to do this. You could just use it as a picture as well. It's entirely up to you. But I find that making use of your art around your home is always something that you definitely want to try and do. Alright, so this will take a little while to get to the point that you want. So I'm just going to go a little bit further, show you a little bit more, and then I'm going to transfer over to a canvas block that I had done already, and the next process in the procedure. Okay, just keep on taking all your paper off. Make sure that you do not use too much pressure when you're busy with your removal of your paper, because you do not want holes to happen between your laser jet ink and the actual surface of the canvas, or the wood in this particular case. Okay, so if you look carefully, you'll see that there are definite indications that this is starting to work. You may have to do this 2 or 3 times depending on how much paper you have left on it. So if you need any assistance at this point, just ask for help with someone. But generally, if you're nice and careful, you're able to do that. Okay, so I'm going to move on. And this is what it turned out like. Now, bear in mind that this is a canvas one. So once you've actually smoothed it off and taken off all of your paper, this is what you've got. Okay, so at this point, what we're going to do now is we're going to varnish it. And we're going to take a brush, and we're going to put some varnish on this. I've decided to use the glossy varnish. What I would recommend you do is just put it into a little cup like this. Make sure that you've, shaken it quite a bit, and then just use your varnish. Now this is a nice glossy varnish, so you're going to find that it's going to bring up the color very nicely again. In this particular case, make sure that you have got it really nice and smooth. Remember though that the varnish looks milky now, but it's going to dry a lovely clear glossy dry color. So that's what you want to do. You can put 1 or 2 coats on if you like, but in this particular instance, try and do it as quickly as you can, and make sure that you do not have any of the paper left behind, because once you've put the varnish down, it's going to stick underneath. So you want to make sure, you notice there's still a little bit of paper that I have on there. Make sure that that paper is off the canvas and that it's nice and clean, so that your picture comes out nicely. And once this is dry, it should take about an hour or 2 to dry. You can do yourself another coat to make sure that you have protected your best friend's picture here. And you can hang this up just as an ordinary picture. You can put it into a bookshelf as an additive to all of your little knickknacks and trinkets, or as I said, you can put little doorknobs at the bottom, and you could hang it up and make it useful for scarves and headpieces and jewelry and things like that. Alright, so hopefully you've enjoyed this tutorial. I'm going to try and do at least 1 or 2 tutorials per week, so that it'll take you over this really bad time in our life where we're having to face quite a few challenges with regard to health issues. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.